with GEMS before said that they're certainly reputable and they know what they're doing, and that we'd get a good product. And that's really just what I wanted to hear. And again, these aren't references that these people put down. These are references that we just reach out to. So it's not like a job reference or something like that, but somebody's going to give a good review of that company. So again, that's why we're comfortable moving forward with GEMS. But like I said, at the end of the day, if the council would rather stick with CPE because it is a known commodity, again, the cost is not that much higher. So if it puts anybody's anybody's concern to rest, we can move forward with CPE. I'm sure they'll be appreciative.
So can I make a comment? And I don't wish to be difficult, and I'm not going to fight whatever. If the consensus is there, I'm certainly going to fight it. But growing up in a town where it had 3 major auto manufacturers, and they were of the opinion that it was God's will that they will get every contract. And then some upstarts in Japan just started making cars, first crappy at first and then wonderful. And I'm a big believer in spreading the wealth around, for the word competition comes into mind, and people don't become complacent. But if I'm in the minority, I will be a team player.
I agree personally with Councilman Dyer's last comment about competition combined with the due diligence.
So I will make the motion to approve the paving contract to GEMS Contracting in the amount of not to exceed $84,084 and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents to begin this paving process.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, so the motion was made by Councilman Grasley and seconded by Councilman Dyer. If everybody could unmute their microphones, that will take the ayes first, and raise your hand too. Aye.
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 Okay, and all opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so the motion is passed. I guess that's 5-2. The next order of business is for the council to consider, discuss, and act upon the town planner job description. The town's been short one position at the town hall since the retirement of our special projects coordinator, Mark, who we just mentioned in the previous conversation, who retired last year. The town planner position is being proposed to help establish a more traditional planning department for the town. I presume all council members have reviewed the job description for the newly proposed position, so we'll ask Joe to provide us with any further detail as you see necessary. Joe?
No, I mean, that's a good summary. Again, we've been debating exactly how to use the salary that was approved for the special projects coordinator position. Again, that position itself was really written for one specific individual, and I'd never claimed that we were ever able to replace Mark Onheiser. He was a great employee while he was here, and I'm sure he's enjoying his retirement. But the idea that we'd be able to find somebody that would fill that particular position is probably pretty limited. So we looked for ways to figure out how we could actually expand staff and fill what I believe is a void in our planning department, and have somebody that can be dedicated to those construction reviews and redevelopment projects that are certainly coming down the pike. Particularly with the passage of our comprehensive plan and likely what will be a zoning revision that's going to come forward, a pretty substantial zoning revision. This seemed to make the most sense.
Okay. Does the council have any specific questions or comments?
Hey, Joe.
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead, Council President Carter.
I was reading the job requirements, and I don't think that the requirements here are specific enough, meaning, granted, we're a small town, but I'd like to see that a post-bachelor's degree is preferred along with 3 years education, because the way that it stands now is that you can have a person that graduated from their master's with no experience. And once again, granted, we're a small town, I'd like to see someone in that position that has actual hands-on experience.
Sure, no, it's a good comment. And again, what we were trying to do with the experience section particularly is understand that because we haven't had this role before, is that in all likelihood, we can probably see either end of the spectrum on the potential applicants, either somebody fresh out of college or potentially somebody that's retired that's looking for, I guess, more of a, end of career kind of role. So that's kind of why we set it up that way. But you know, I understand what you're saying. We can certainly make that tweak where it's 3 years of experience required, and then sorry, I'm reading through the job description right now, and then a post-bachelor's degree also preferred.
I like
Okay.
that wording.
Okay.
And then someone else, I missed who it was, began to ask. Thank you. Go ahead, Councilman Grassley.
Hey, Joe, I was just wondering about the salary. How confident are you to get somebody to fill this position at that salary level? Are you pretty sure? Have you looked around at other town planners? Was there any towns to reference this job at?
Yeah, we did. Well, I did. Basically, you go on job boards and you see kind of what other similar sized towns are advertising for. That 65 is kind of right in the area that we're looking for. I do know that there was another town, I won't name it specifically, that was hiring a position similar to this at a lower salary, and they were having a very difficult time recruiting. So I'm comfortable moving forward with where it is proposed, and then. You know, for whatever reason we're having issues in the recruitment process, we can always revisit it.
I also had a question in reference to this in terms of the educational requirement. Is it, and I just don't know this for a town planner position, is if a person, say, had 10 years or 15 years of experience, but not a bachelor's degree, would that suffice? Or do they, the way it's written, they have to have at least a bachelor's degree. And I guess I'm interested in the industry itself. If a person did have that prior experience, that seems more worthwhile than necessarily education, although I am a huge proponent of education. I wonder what the normal process is there.
Yeah, typically a planner does have some sort of you know, not graduate level work, but undergraduate level at the very least education. Not everybody has a master's degree, but usually I would say 90% of the applicants would have some sort of undergrad degree.
Thanks.
I have one last question. Would the applicants be, the applications be reviewed by Joe and then picked by Joe, or would it be presented to the council with our recommendation?
Well, one of the reasons why this this job description is coming before the council is because it is a brand new position, and I wanted to at least get feedback from the council before we pursue it. But the idea would be that the interviews would be done by me, and once that candidate is selected, likely the approval process would come for council.
Okay. I have no issues with that. I was just checking.
Yep.
Anyone else with respect to this item? Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the proposed job description for the town planner as presented and authorize staff to begin the recruitment and hiring processes.
Mayor,
I'm sorry,
I was
Lisa.
going to say, I thought the proposal was to, as it's here with the adjustment to experience for Anna's comments, right?
Yes, that's correct. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said as written. I should have said as proposed, or I don't know how I said it, but yes, certainly as presented with this conversation. Thank you, Lisa.
Preferred, Joe, preferred.
Got it.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so the motion's made by Councilman Schofield and seconded by Councilman Guroff. And everybody unmute your mics, please. We'll take a vote. All in favor, state aye while raising your hand.
Aye.
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 Okay, it looked like everybody. Anyone opposed? All right, so I also vote aye. That's a unanimous approval of that particular proposed job description. So we'll move on to the next item of business, and that is for the council to consider, discuss, and act on the rules of council policy. Last month, the council and I met in a workshop format to discuss what was born out of my desire for more clarity on established past practices with respect to the council meeting format and decorum, as well as the meeting agenda creation process. But in my unwavering pursuit for efficient business meetings of council, I also want to make sure that we're always providing the public with the greatest opportunity to participate. For example, I want residents to know that if they have a desire for the council to consider legislative action on their matter, that they must first speak directly to a council member or the mayor in order for the mayor to determine or decide to put that matter on the agenda for an upcoming meeting. But tonight we want to introduce these rules of council policy with which also includes the creation of the standing committees that we discussed in that same work session last month. So the idea behind the standing committees is intended to maximize each council member's participation in our process while we get to capitalize on each of our council members' skill sets. So I'll ask Joe if he'd like to provide any further detail if he sees fit.
No, that's good. And really just to add on that if anybody has any comments on the standing committees, these don't necessarily have to be approved tonight. We do want to approve the policy so that we can get some of those, I guess, some of those particular sections, on the website and start communicating that to the public. But if there's further discussion on the specifics of the standing committees, we can continue those conversations either at a later meeting or later workshop.
So does anybody have any
So
comments?
I had a comment question. When I was thinking about it and kind of looking at the list, on the transportation one, I thought we had also, and I could be making it up, had talked about kind of infrastructure stuff as well, not just roads. And wondering if, as we start to look at those three groups, because I know that we've been talking about connectivity in a variety of different formats, one being transportation, but also being, internet access and things like that in the town. So Joe, is that something that can be added into that group, or is it already included and I just am missing it?
No, I mean, it can certainly be added. I don't necessarily know if it would fall under transportation though. And again, maybe it's just a matter of reworking that committee a little bit so it's more I guess all encompassing. Or this could potentially be a topic that would be more suited for a select committee. And I guess the difference between a standing committee is that it's made up of council members, with particular topics. But if it's something as, I guess, as precise as broadband, we would likely want to pull in, specialists or people that had certain expertise in that to be able to give us a recommendation on how to move forward with whatever goal or objective that the council decided. So it certainly, it could be worked into one of these committees. Again, it might have to change the name or we rework something, but that might be right for a future discussion. Rather than trying to make it on the fly.
I agree with Joe. And I think we can talk more about that maybe in another workshop in the future, and we can hammer out the details of the actual standing committees themselves. And at which time we'll also be discussing who wants to be on which. As described in our rules of council, it's made clear that these committees would be assigned by the actual council, not by the mayor. So we want to do that as a group collectively. But furthermore, with respect to like these select committees or subcommittees, whatever you would like to call them, those, if a select committee is determined to be necessary, that would be something that would be assigned by the mayor. And it would include, I would think, experts in the field of whatever it is that subcommittee would be pertaining to, and would include members of and residents, members of the community. And then that information from those subcommittees would be brought forth to the standing committee, whether it be finance, ordinance and rules, or transportation. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, I guess when I was reading it, it's like more infrastructure kind of globally.
No, I appreciate you bringing that forward, Lisa. Does anyone else have any questions or comments before we ask for a motion? Assuming somebody wants to make one.
Hey, Joe, I just want to make clear that this document is not going in into our code, and this is just going to be available on the website, and we're just going to refer to this as the rules for the meeting. And if something needs to be changed, it could just come back to the council and could be changed with a vote. Is that correct?
That's correct. And again, it's because it's a relatively new document, and there might be a process or two that we want to tweak, and we didn't want to necessarily codify it just yet.
Good question. Thanks, Councilman Grassley. Anyone else? Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the proposed rules of council policy as presented?
I motion.
Okay, so Councilwoman Guroff makes a motion. It looks like Councilman Grassley is about to make a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Again, everybody unmute their mics, please, and we'll take a all in favor vote.
Aye.
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 And any opposed? Okay, so that motion passes unanimously. That brings us to our fourth and final item of new business, which is to consider and discuss and act on the memorandum of agreement for cost sharing of stormwater, that's STORM, not STROM water mitigation projects and co-permittee responsibilities in complying with the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System requirements. And I'll just rewind that and play that back when somebody's ready to make that motion. The proposed memorandum of agreement is to continue the town's partnership with Carroll County for compliance with the national stormwater regulations. Joe, you're up.
You didn't want to take this one, Mayor? Come on.
No, thank you.
No, this is a good one. This is a continuation, obviously, of a partnership that was formed years ago in Carroll County with the county and then all the participating municipalities, which is actually all of the municipalities, 8 of us. So the old permit was designed to follow the 5-year NPDES permit, the original one that was issued, and losing my place here. Really just to make sure that we, all the municipalities in the county kind of combined all of their resources so that there wasn't, I guess, all individual municipalities and county trying to comply with all of these regulations. So it was basically just an opportunity to pool resources and get us through these compliance projects. The county's been doing a great job in administering this program. There was the establishment of the Water Resource Coordinating Committee, which the town does have a seat on. All the managers actually serve, along with representatives from the county and the Water Resource Division there. So as we approach the end of that original NPDES permit, obviously revisions were going to be made to those permits. These are on a federal level and then passed on to the state and local agencies. This permit actually dragged on. So we were actually, that original 5-year permit actually went to almost 7 years. We just now started to get the revisions to that, which is what this new MOA has been based on. So one of the biggest changes obviously is the cost share portion of it. I think the last year of the previous MOA, we were paying or contributing just over $40,000 to the program. With the first year of this new memorandum of agreement, it's just over $23,000. So it is a pretty substantial reduction. And again, it just goes to show all of the impact that's been had over the years with stormwater mitigation. Plus some changes, obviously, in the NPDES permit. So the only other significant change is that this new MOA is in fact perpetual. So it will follow not just this permit, but future permits, assuming that there's not significant changes that would potentially upset the cost share analysis. So again, I think that should have been shared with council as well. Those charts that kind of show the projected cost share for each municipality. So again, we'd like to obviously continue with this partnership that's already been established. Again, it's a good resource for the town and certainly takes a rather large requirement off of our plate and kind of puts it on the collective rather than on each single municipality. And we are certainly supportive of moving forward with the MOA as presented.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for staff? Any comments from the council?
Hey, Joe, I do have a question about the recalculated thing. They got it projected out to 2029. Did the county actually provide that information? Are they?
Yes.
So they're really assuming that price is gonna be, they're pretty stable, 5% increase over the next 9 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, and some of that was based on just some of the cost analysis that has been going on with all of the projects over these last 5 to 7 years, and it was still holding relatively consistent with that 5-year annual increase. They're comfortable moving forward based on what's being shown in the new permit that's about to be issued.
So if they come back and say, hey, we need to increase, let's say 50 or 60% for, let's say, the year 2025, would this come back to the council for approval?
It would have to come back before council.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's any dramatic change on the price, you would alert the council that, hey, this is what's going on and we just need to revisit this situation. Is that correct?
Right, because, and again, all of this money all of these would be factored into our annual operating budget. So if there's any significant shift in what we were planning on proposing or planning on contributing, it would have to be presented to council and approved.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Sure.
Can I request if Carrie can put the slide with the projection so those who are watching can see what the projected amount is?
Thank you, Anna.
The projection is actually throughout the years of this MOU, it's going to be less than what we're paying currently. So currently we're paying $40,000 a year. So in 20,
is it really small? There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, there we go. 2029, we're still going to be paying less than what we're currently paying.
It's the bottom chart there, Carrie.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about that, Anna.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That's we got a great county.
I was just going to say, we can thank the county for staying on target and task and doing it into completion very well, each one of those projects.
Agreed.
Thanks. That's a good visual. Any more comments or questions from the council? All right. So let's just do it this way. Is there a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement? We'll leave it at that.
So moved.
Cool. Is there a second?
I still want to call it the stormwater mitigation, but that's fine.
I don't know who to give that second to because that didn't light up, but I do believe that it was stormwater, not stormwater. So we will keep that in the motion. Jeremiah,
I'll second it.
Okay,
Yep,
great.
I'll second
So
it.
thank you. The motion's made by Councilman Grasley and seconded by Councilman Schofield. Everyone unmute. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, so that fourth item passes, that motion passes unanimously. And that brings us to our announcements and reports, part of the program. So I'll start with the announcement about the next town council meeting being scheduled for September 13th, 2021 at 7 p.m. This will be held via Zoom. Whether or not that'll be hybrid or we will all be on Zoom is yet to be determined, and we'll hear more about that from town manager here in a moment. We continue to have volunteer opportunities available on the Historic District Commission, Sykesville Parks and Rec Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, our Police Auxiliary, and a crossing guard for the school year that's coming up. Anyone interested in any of those positions can contact or are encouraged to contact town@sykesville.net for more information. And of note, as I mentioned just a moment ago, there will be a council meeting coming up here, but a second meeting will be in the form of a workshop on August 23rd at 7 p.m. And that's expected to be live streamed on the town's Facebook page and available for future viewing, as all of our Facebook live stream meetings are. And Joe can provide us more details about the workshop within the context of his staff updates. So that's up to you, Joe.
Thank you, Mayor. So really just with the workshop, the information that's been shared so far is really all we have right now. We do expect there to be an update on the updated studies that Warfield has been working on, the Warfield development team has been working on. This includes fiscal impact and economic reports that they've been working on, plus a little bit of a history and a little bit of some of the other aspects that they've been working on, at least from the state front. So hopefully it brings everybody kind of up to date on what's been going on over there and maybe how we can potentially move forward. But again, just a workshop, so it's really just an information exchange and sharing. As we get closer to the meeting, certainly we've asked them to provide at least some written documentation that can be shared prior to the meeting, so it's not just an avalanche of information hitting council and planning commission.
That'll be appreciated.
So yeah, once I receive any of that, I will certainly pass it along as soon as I have it. And I know we mentioned the council room. I'm happy to report that the wonderful folks at the CMC were actually at town hall today, starting to get that room buzzing a little bit. Some of the connections are being made. So hopefully we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel on that project. As soon as it's operational, we'll start doing our testing, and we'll see about having a test run here on maybe one of our other committee or commission meetings before we go live with a formal council meeting.
And when we do, there will be 7 very comfortable chairs and a beautiful modular table awaiting us. Room for everyone at the table, at our crowded table.
And new chairs for the public too.
And new chairs for our public. So come one, come all. Yes.
Just in time for the Delta variant.
Yes, please. No.
So let's see, that's council room. Just to make sure, and I'll do this probably at every meeting, just to make sure we give the public a little bit of an update on Cooper Park. So we have gotten a revised date from BG&E for the electrical work for the splash pad. It's not until I think it's coming Saturday. It's August 14th. So even if that happens on August 14th, which again, right now we have no reason to believe it won't, it's going to put us pretty much at a time crunch to get this thing open, obviously before summer's end. So there might only be a very short window to do some testing and maybe let's call it a soft open for the splash pad before it has to be shut down for the winter. And then we'll do a more formal ribbon cutting, and hopefully we can get a couple council members to run through the splash pad to advertise it next spring. And then the zip line, we have heard from the manufacturer of the zip line that there are other testing parameters that they're going through to make some adjustments to that zip line so that it will stop failing. There on that new playground that was installed earlier this year. They've given us basically a timeline of another 2 or 3 weeks of this testing before that can potentially be installed. So if we have an installation date, we'll certainly share that with council and make sure we push that out to the public as well.
Thank you, Joe. And
then the last thing I want to say is really just a really big thank you. We've had a wonderful young man helping us out here at the townhouse over the last few months named Connor Armstrong. He's getting ready to start his senior year at St. Mary's College. He's an economics and public policy double major. We've put him to work. We put him through the paces here at the townhouse, and he's helped us out. I guess reorganizing our storage problem that we had in our attic, able to filter through some of the things that we could actually get rid of. He's helped us organize hundreds of documents that we received when our former town engineer Bob Bond had passed away. So we're able to get all of those things stored and organized so that we can actually get to them and reference them. He's about to help our treasurer go from fiscal year 21 and clean out all those documents so that he can have a clean slate for FY22 and that we're ready for our audit. So he's done an amazing job for us. We really appreciate all the hard work that he's put in, and certainly wish him luck in his senior year at St. Mary's.
For sure. Kudos to Connor.
And that's all I have.
Joe, on that report, I get a lot of questions about that splash park. Is there any way that we can kind of, as progress goes, just get a blurb into like the town Facebook page or something? It just seems to be a constant
Yeah.
question when I'm out. I don't know if other members get the same question, but
I do.
And it will definitely be a regular update that we start doing on Facebook. We have created on our standard website, just basically a projects update page, which we have, of course, the zip line, the splash pad, and now our paving project, plus our linear trail project that we're getting ready to bid, or that's, I think it just opened today, actually. But we'll do a better job of making sure that information, particularly as there's updates on any of those projects, that we push those out on Facebook.
Thank you for that. All right. Thank you, Joe. We are up to our treasurer's report. Craig Weaver, let's have it.
Let's have it. Can everybody hear me? Good evening, everybody.
Yes, good evening.
Let's bring up the July. Oh, there you go. Carrie's already brought up the July 2021 Treasurer's Report. Obviously, this is the first month of the year, the new fiscal year that I know we're all excited about entering into. It's a pretty, not very exciting report that I sent you guys on Friday. The revenue obviously is pretty low at the moment. We're actually over budget theoretically, just because the revenue is so low at the moment, which is never, it's not rare in July to have the low revenue, because a lot of those pockets don't start kicking up until the fall. So no alarm needed there. The expenditures have all been pretty much on pace. There's nothing really out of whack at the moment to really discuss. I think in terms of revenue, I think the thing that probably would have brought us back, had we gotten, I think we mentioned, you guys were talking about it briefly, but have we gotten any county agreement monies that we usually get around this time frame? Usually that's like the first big bucket we get. Unfortunately, we haven't received that yet. So hopefully that'll be in here any week now to help us with August. The other information I'm sure you're aware of, is just to make a point. It's actually, you could see it on the balance sheet, which Carrie, don't worry about bringing up, but just to say the monies, 50% of the monies for the American Rescue Plan Act have arrived, and it is sitting in our bank account. Right now it's just sitting on the balance sheet as part of a long-term liability. I won't get into technicality of how to treat the monies and how we will eventually recognize as a revenue. I mean, certainly if you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. We can discuss further. But that money has been received, and it was 50% of it. So about 1.557 has been received. So I've been making discussions with the bank to put it in a separate account, and that has been set up, and it should be active actually tomorrow. It'll be active. And then we'll be able to access it at any time moving forward, at the councils and everybody else's will. Other than that, if anybody has any questions, that's pretty much, kind of sorry, it's a lackluster report this month, but that I've been kind of tied up with some other issues. Obviously, with still the audit that got pounded last couple of weeks, so still working on that as well. So if you have any questions, though, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
Craig's looking for a motion to make another one of him, at least for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, tough week last week.
Craig and Joe, I do have a quick question about revenue, just in terms of income tax and highway user revenue. Are those anticipated to be good numbers based on what you heard so far?
Income tax, certainly. The highway user revenue is always adjusted slightly down, really ever since the word of COVID started surfacing, over 18 months ago. So we don't expect actually to hit our highway user revenue number, which is one of the reasons why our paving projects this year weren't nearly as robust as we typically do. Now, again, we don't expect it to be significantly down, but I think the budget number. Okay, yeah, you can actually see it just right there on the bottom, 178,000. I think the revised number already is down to 170 or so, or in the high 160s. So lower, but not catastrophic.
Okay, thank you.
And I know this is off topic, but since you bring up the paving project by way of your question, Councilman Keenan, Joe, would it be worth it to announce to the public where the paving is being done this round? I mean, I can speak to it, but I wasn't sure exactly the section of, I think it was between what Braemar's getting done in its entirety, I believe, right?
It is, here, I'm pulling that up right
And
now. So it's
second-
Norris Avenue between Colorama Road and Brandenburg Circle.
Yeah.
All of Braemar Court and 2nd Avenue between Colorama and Oklahoma.
Thank you. Okay, no more questions for Craig then, or I should have not asked it that way. If I were working at Sheets like as I did in college, I would have been in trouble for that. I'm supposed to ask, will you be having anything else? So are there any more questions? Not, there aren't any, are there?
Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
All right, and I don't, are we still doing that, Joe?
We're not. We're
I
good.
didn't think so. Yeah, that's okay, Councilman Keenan. I appreciate your support of the treasury report. So that brings
I'll
us.
second it. I'll second it one last time.
Oh, please.
Thanks, appreciate it.
That brings us to our council commit. No, it doesn't. Chief, my goodness, Chief, it's a public safety report time. It's all you.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
On this dark and stormy night. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
That was good.
We got a lot to cover here. The public safety report is for a full month, well, almost a full month, July 1 through July 6th through August 1st. As you can see, we handled a lot of events during that period, 631 to be exact. Some of the highlights were 19 assist other agency, 27 community policing initiatives, and you may have noticed that our newest officer is doing a bang up job with community policing. Officer Darby, he is hitting the ground running and is doing a phenomenal job, both with his traffic work and his community policing initiatives. We're very happy to have him. 19 foot patrol initiatives during this time, 389 patrol checks, 45 traffic enforcement initiatives, again, for a total of 631 events. And during the same period, we had only 10 incident reports. And I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have about any of this.
Chief, I just want to say that I want to celebrate the fact that the community policing numbers are way up. I was very happy. I was surprised to see how long the report was, nearly 50 pages, but very pleased that the vast majority of it were community policing. And if I might just stand on a soapbox just for a minute, two of the incidents that I really like that happened were the lemonade stands. The best place to teach people about the good things that the police forces do in our community is when people are kids, and just really appreciate the efforts that are going on there, Chief. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be sure to pass that along to the officers. If there are no other questions, Mayor, I have a couple other things I'd like to just bring to everyone's attention. As you all know, we recently had several events that we were involved in. The Sipping on Summer Town event went very well, well attended, and no incidents to speak of. So a huge success for us and for the town. National Night Out was just last week, and I thank those of you who were able to stop by. Again, very well attended. Great opportunity for us to recruit both at the sworn level and the auxiliary level. And we actually had one young man show up and fill out an application right on the spot for the auxiliary. So kudos to our new auxiliary commander, Lieutenant Jeff Queen, who is the replaced outgoing commander, Lieutenant Kevin Cox. Jeff is just doing a phenomenal job. I'm sure you've seen the increase in our social media outreach on our Facebook page. Jeff is just very good at this sort of thing, and he's getting the word out there, and the applicants are starting to stream in. So we sat down, had a long discussion. I told him my number one priority was to increase our staffing in the auxiliary unit, and he has responded very favorably. So I couldn't be happier with having Jeff on as the auxiliary unit commander.
Nice.
One other thing I wanted to mention was I recently, on behalf of the other 5 municipalities, applied for a state Homeland Security grant through the county emergency management office. It was for $29,000, which is going to enable every municipal police officer in Carroll County to have a brand new tactical patrol helmet. This was something that, quite frankly, we lacked in the past. If you remember, a few years ago, I applied for a similar grant, and they provided one helmet per department. Well, as you all know, one helmet doesn't do us much good. And there's a sizing issue with that, and then the location of the helmet. These new tactical patrol helmets will be in every patrol officer's car, so that if an officer has to respond to a high risk situation, they'll have the helmet readily available to them to protect themselves. So I was very happy to be able to do that on behalf of the other 5 municipalities, and I appreciate Valerie Hawkins from our County Office of Emergency Management assisting me with that grant application.
So Chief, you said you submitted the grant, but the grant was awarded? Or
It was awarded, yeah, and we've
Yes,
already
thank you.
purchased the helmets. And we're
Wonderful.
just in the process of getting all the sizes. It was 100 helmets, $290 a piece.
Wow.
And every patrol officer in Carroll County will have a tactical patrol helmet in their patrol vehicle. So
Wonderful.
a
Thank you
great
for
added
doing that.
piece of protective equipment that was very much needed. And with that, the only last thing I'll mention is we have our junior CSI program coming up on September 11th. There are still some positions available in the class. So if anybody listening wants to get their child into the program, please contact us and we'll get you an application. We're shooting for between 30 and 35 students. Again, it's geared towards middle school aged students. So those are the students we're targeting. And we're looking forward to another great year of this program that's been going on now for 12 years. It was started back in the day by former Chief John Williams, and we certainly intend to continue the program as long as we can.
Thank you, Chief. Leo, have you been hitting the mute button on purpose? You want something? You have something to say? No? Okay. All right. I don't want to talk over you. Thank you, Chief. Anyone have any questions or further comments for the Chief?
Hey, Chief, I just wanted to chime in too about the community policing, Sergeant Kilgore on my street. I did send you an email about it. That was really nice. They were kind of here on another call, and Sergeant Kilgore actually took the time during that call to do some community policing, give some information out to a neighbor here on Autumn Sky Court. So please pass that on to him. I just want to make it public, and thanks for the great work.
Appreciate that. We're glad to finally, hopefully, knock on wood, put an end to the fireworks issues in that area.
I'm a little disappointed in that, but that's okay.
Okay.
I'm not. And so disappointed, I mean. And thanks for all your hard work, Chief, with respect to that with the fireworks. I know that I guess there's two sides to every coin, but
I was just trying to be funny, Miss Mayor.
I know you were. I know you were. I just don't know if everybody else knew you were, but it's good. So we're on the same page collectively as a council about how intrusive the fireworks are throughout the year, especially for about 2 weeks in a row, it seems, around the 4th of July. But I wanted to just say, with respect to this public safety report, I've actually never enjoyed reading one before this evening. So thank you for that. Okay, that now we're at the point where we have I request for council and committee reports. So does anyone have specific updates to share with the public regarding their liaison positions to their commissions? Let's go with Councilman Jeremiah Schofield, Planning Commission.
Thanks, Mayor Link.
Sure.
All right, so 2 things that I want to report on. I did meet, although it's no longer a liaison role, I did meet with the Raincliffe Homeowners Association. It was the last meeting, if you will, being a liaison, and I let them know that the liaison role would be sunsetting, but that I would be continuing, as we had discussed previously, of attending their meetings, and they were pleased with that. We went through normal business. They went through things like their budget and different projects that they're working on within their community, and there were no actions at the town. However, after the meeting, the president of the Homeowners Association did get in contact with me, and I need to send this down to Joe for you to think about it, but I just want to bring it up to the rest of the council. Currently, when you walk from Raincliffe down to downtown, there is an area that could be a little bit safer, where we could put in a possible crosswalk going across Village Road where Sandusky is. And there's also currently no crosswalk getting you over to that gas station, Big Belly Deli, and the liquor store that's in that small little shopping center where the gas station is. And so I'm going to send this down to you, Joe. I just received it recently, and I want to bring it up tonight just for situational awareness for all of you. But a relatively low amount of money. I don't know if we've ever studied it before or not. If we have, and it can't happen, just like an explanation so I can provide it back to the folks over there. It does seem to support what we're trying to do with connectivity for the town, though. Pretty small initiative. The other meeting that I attended was last Monday. It was the Planning Commission. So this is in my new role. The first thing I just want to do is thank Mark for all of the efforts that you've done and showing leadership over the last couple of years. It's very apparent to me. I was a planning commissioner before joining the council. It's very apparent to me that the relationship between the town and the commission is very, very solid, as it always was. And I really just want to say thank you, Mark, for your leadership there. One thing that I wanted to raise is that one of the items of business that came up was a concept plan for a mixed-use facility on 7448 and 7452 Springfield. And I would encourage any of the council members to take a look at that planning commission discussion. Essentially, there's a 2-story structure and a 1-story structure where the Done Right furniture store used to be. The new developers are looking to build out apartment buildings and retail space of some kind, and perhaps some commercial office. There's an issue with parking, and that'll be a subject of conversation in the future, and very likely will come before the council at a later time. But just want to let you all know that that did happen. One other topic, this relates back to the 1.5 million that the town received. And I noticed that we will be having workshops in reference to where we're moving forward. I did have a question in reference to that, and in reference to money that we have within our capital budget this year. Are we thinking of any studies, or are we waiting for the planning position to be filled before we go there, Joe?
Well, I mean, there's certainly money in the operating budget for some of those studies. It's just a matter of deciding which ones we want to try to tackle. Some of them are actually under evaluation for a grant at this time. So again, we didn't necessarily want to pull the trigger on it until we had direction on the grant. Plus, there's been, I guess, grant monies that may become available to us, or have become available to us, that we still need to reallocate to certain areas. So I think as we have some of these workshops, we can start to nail down exactly how best to spend those funds.
Thanks, Joe.
Sure.
That's all I had.
Okay, thank you, Jeremiah. Are there any other committee reports? Sure, thank you. Go ahead, Councilwoman Guroff.
So from Spark, just wanted to highlight, we had 95 people attend the last movie, Princess and the Frog. And our next movie coming up is August 14th is Toy Story 4. And there's actually going to be music in the park again on October 2nd by the group Here Till Sunday. So more information should be coming out about that. But definitely people are getting outside, and participating, which is great.
Wonderful. That's a good turnout. Thank you, Lisa. And I think I saw, yes, go ahead, Councilman Keenan.
Thanks. Just wanted to thank everybody who came out to the Sippin' on Summer, and especially our volunteers, Mayor Link, Council President Carter, and Councilmember Guroff, who came out to volunteer. Definitely want to thank Police Department, Chief, who was there all day, and Public Works for all their help. It was a great event. I think a lot of that had to do with the ticket limitation that we put on for this event. Because of the current restrictions, it actually really worked out that it wasn't overbooked and there weren't too many people. So it was a really nice event. Weather worked out perfectly. Everybody had a great time. We've got Green Committee. They are in the process of their Let Us Bug You educational program that they had hosted at the Garden a week ago. And they're also involved in volunteer signups. Promotions Committee has the farmers market ongoing, which is being very well received. It's good to see that back as well. Golf tournament coming up only has 40 registrations left. So anybody who wants to get in on that, it's going to fill up soon. Craft Beer Festival set for November 13th. We just got a $3,000 grant from M&T Bank towards that. We also got a $5,000 grant for the design committee from the Nora Roberts Foundation for the creation of a kid mural and for Snallygaster dolls that will be able to pass out. And there's a grant's been submitted to Carroll County for a Sykesville postcard project. And for the organization committee, there's still volunteer opportunities for that. There's a donation of 2 pallets of hand sanitizers that was made to the Sykesville Police Department and Sheriff's Office, and 2 pallets of cleaning wipes to Merit Club, and furnished school bags to Piney Ridge Elementary. Still working on a job fair with the Economic Development Group. Creation of a Main Street document for larger fundraisers with the liquor license, and trying to get back to researching a paranormal video creation where we used to do the ghost tours. This will be something different. It'll actually be a video that people can access as opposed to doing the sleepovers we used to try to do. But that should be it for the DSC.
Thank you, Leo.
Mayor?
Yes, Lisa.
Leo, did you see the article for the ghost tours? Did you see the article on the distillery?
I did not see that.
The Baltimore Sun just posted an article that there was a seance, a 4-hour seance at the distillery. So it can go along with your ghost tour when.
Okay. I missed that seance, but I will look into that. Thank you.
It might actually be the same vendor doing both of those things, if I'm not mistaken, but I haven't seen the article either, Lisa. Thanks for sharing. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Yes, go ahead, Council President Carter.
Yes, for the Historic District, we had a meeting on July the 27th. We had 2 applications. One was approved. The other one, we were looking for more information. It's concerning an awning over at the new Warfield development. And with it being summertime, we asked that we can have a special meeting to review the additional information we were looking for. So there's going to be a special meeting next week. It's either Monday or Tuesday. Carrie, you can chime in to see if did we decide what day it was going to be?
I am waiting to hear back from one more person, but it's looking like Monday.
Okay, so we're going to have a special HDC meeting Monday at 6 o'clock. It will be via Zoom, and we will be sending out information so you can log on to Zoom if you want to participate. So we will be addressing some additional information we were looking for that application, and I do believe that we have another new application. Is that correct?
We have 2 other applications and a request about shingles from Warfield.
Okay, so it looks like that we're going to have a full agenda Monday, 6 o'clock via Zoom. If you're interested, please participate. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna. Are there any other announcements or anything that anyone from council would like to share? I would just like to report that I had a very productive and hospitable meeting with Howard County's Executive Ball, Calvin Ball, and some of his administrative staff, as well as Howard County Rex and Park. We got a chance to talk about South Branch Park and that connection between the park and our Main Street, as well as some of the, not only the safe pedestrian connection, but also with respect to some of the details in our comprehensive plan that involve a partnership between Howard County and and Sykesville. And that was a really great meeting, and looks like it's going to be the beginning of a very, I think, productive partnership over the next couple of years. And hopefully we'll see something coming to fruition, something similar looking to the concept on the cover of our comprehensive plan. Even though I think that is maybe a little more bubbly than it might turn out to be, but here's hoping. I love the way it looks, and we'll have something safe at least for us to get from one place to another and connect Main Street to South Branch Park. So, okay. So we do have a closed session meeting scheduled for this evening following the adjournment of this meeting. So I'm obligated to share with the public the items that will be discussed, or at least that qualify for a closed session. So I'll read this now. The meeting is proposed to be closed pursuant to the general provisions of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Section 3-305B. 1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. And 7, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on a legal matter. With respect to the legal matter, this evening's closed session will be discussing Warfield contract discussions, and regarding the personnel matter, we'll be discussing confidential personal information. So I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion for adjournment?
Yes.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I don't see any opposed, but let me ask. Okay, we are officially adjourned. It is 7, I'm sorry. It's 8:09. First one to run past. Have a good evening, public, and everybody stay on board here for a closed session.
Recording stopped.